Hi, today we're going to do one of my very favorite desserts, and that happens to be bread pudding, which is, we have croissants, um, cubed gingerbread, and somewhere in here is some sourdough bread. Old chefs used to use whatever was on hand, and so we have never had anything just left over, so I've had to go out and buy some. We're going to add some other really interesting things as well. Well, I like to add some fruit into my bread pudding, and one of the things we use to soak our fruit is amarula. It's made from the marula berry in South Africa, and it's really the only thing known to get elephants drunk. In fact, when my wife was in graduate school at UCLA, they went out to Lion Country Safari and poured hundreds of dollars of alcohol trying to get the elephants to stagger, and they'd never do it. So here we are. First of all, we have the amarula and heavy cream soaking the vanilla beans. I like to use dried blueberries. They're soaking in rye whiskey, which is one of my favorite beverages. And we have some Santanas, or white raisins, that I have soaking in brandy, which I think is pretty appropriate. I will drain these, save the liquid for later, and mix it all in. Oop, you caught me. I'm checking my own recipe. What I like to do is look over the next events, and we have some baking that we'll be doing. I'm going to go out and see a friend in a little while, so I'll leave some of this for later. But if you have a recipe and you can put it on the internet and be able to scroll through it step by step to remind you some of the nuances and some of the things you might have left out. Okay, this is the part that my daughters tease me about because I do vary the recipe a little bit. In the recipe I say 3 tablespoons of amarula. Well, that's about what I have here, more or less. And the rest of it is pretty simple. Okay, we've drained our berries right here, and we're going to bring them over to the bread pudding, and we're just going to sprinkle them on, and I'll toss them a little bit. Now we're going to save the precious nectar that we have left over, which is has a little whiskey and berry flavors and raisins for a little bit later. I like a lot of vanilla in my slurry that I'm going to pour over the bread right now. Basically, I have 5 vanilla beans that I've put in here, and I'll probably use another 2 for the topping later on. And this may sound a little excessive, but one of the things people have to remember is that the number 1 or number 2, depending on what you look at, most preferred flavor with men, whether it's perfume or food, is vanilla. And so here we are, right here, mixing it in. So think about that next time you go out and buy somebody some perfume. The next part of the process is a fairly simple one. You have to tamp down a little bit on your bread, making sure that, just like French toast, that it absorbs all of the mixture. You're going to have to guess a little bit, basically on the size of your pan that you're using, whether or not you have enough mixture. I used 12 eggs in this particular recipe, where normally I use 9. But I think, it's proven out that I may not have used enough, but I think it'll be fine once I get it all tamped down a little bit. Okay. Well, it looks like we've got it all tamped down very nicely. I'm going to cover it with cellophane and leave it in the refrigerator to cure for a couple of hours, and then we'll go ahead and bake it while we make the covering that we put in the last few minutes. I have to congratulate the one-armed man who's taking these photos because he's doing a really good job doing both cooking and photographing. Although my daughters will disagree with me, I tend to stick pretty close to my recipes. With bread, no 2 bread puddings are alike, and so you're going to find yourself in a situation where sometimes you've used bread that's more absorbent than others and you have more liquid, and you're going to have to beef up the amount of cream and and eggs and so forth that you use. Otherwise, it's a pretty straightforward recipe, and you can add what you want, and the sauce that you use at the end is always consistent and makes it very, very nice. Okay, what we're going to do right now is we're going to take a peek inside the oven. You'll be able to see things boiling and so forth. It's driving Laura crazy because it's making the house smell just wonderful. Well, it's boiling away. What we're going to do next in a few minutes is put another layer of custard on it, cook it for another 20 minutes, and then take it out cool, and we'll be making the sauce after that. This is the final look at the bread pudding. After this, we'll slice it up and put on some sauce, and we'll get a chance to have some. So I'm glad that you had a chance to take a look at how I make bread pudding, and I hope you enjoy it and try it yourself.